Alright guys, today I'm going to talk about this bean planter I built. We're going to do this on the phone today. I forgot the GoPro at home, and so we're just going to do it on the phone and try to just do one straight talk through video, and I'll try not to get windy on you guys. So I'm just going to do a quick summary, that way if anybody wants to recall back to it, they can see what happened, and it'll all be in one video. That's a little better. I guess to start off, this is a 6-row narrow frame, 7,000 conservation. I guess I don't need to go into any backstory where he bought it. I'll just try to do the details. So it's composed of 8-row units. They are 18-ish inches apart. I think it's like 18 1/4 actually. So 6 of the row units are off another toolbar I had, and I had to buy 2 from a different source. So that's what those are. They work fairly well. I do want to update the closing wheels, and I do want to get some sort of a brush or radial meter. And then the next thing is these wheels. These are 95L15s. They had 670/15s on it. I had to do like a little spacer deal in here, and I had to play with rims to get that centered up. But I was able to use that whole space basically. I wanted to do that so I had more flotation. So, and because we also went to the top drive. So I guess that leads us to the top drive. The top drive that I have for this, which worked out, it's off a 1770 24-row planter. I actually acquired that from Brian's farming videos in Chillicothe. I don't know if anybody will, I'm sure people watch him. And that is where I acquired the airbags as well. So, but that seemed to work out. What I did is I basically welded a couple pieces of steel on there, and I eyeballed it nice and straight and did a lot of measuring and got the drive chain on there, and then I put this drive shaft that runs down through. And some of my work I had to torch it out. I don't have a lot of fancy metalworking tools, so we just made do with what we had. And also the transmission is off the same corn planter, the 24-row 1770. I did have to do some modifications. I don't know if you can peek in there. That idler, I had to, it used to be up here and it used to swing this way. So the idler, I made it so it swings this way now, because technically the transmission drives the opposite direction that it used to. But we got that all rigged up with basically all factory components. So that's that. The next thing is that I absolutely love on the corn planter and this is the airbag system. These airbags are off the same planter as the other things. Bought it the same transaction. And then the black pieces that you see, try to zoom in a little bit, those are from Peckwa Planter in Pennsylvania. That's just an adapter kit because I found this out the hard way. The 1770, well, I think basically anything 7200 and up is actually narrower than a 7,000 row unit. But we got that all rigged up. The only thing I do not like, they rub right here, which I think I'm just going to notch them out. But it's only when they're in the far extreme down carried position. So technically, the chains probably aren't driving through that. So I did figure out that these are this way for a reason. If this side is over here, that is for shaft driven. And if this side is switched like I had to switch it, that is for chain drive. And obviously an electric drive or hydraulic drive wouldn't matter. So I guess so. We lead to the top drive system across the drive shaft. After we get across the drive shaft, we have just a simple gear, small gear, leading the big gear. So we've got the small gear leading the big gear. over to a back gear, which reverses the direction because that wheel spins backwards. So this would spin backwards, and then this turns it back into forward. And then that leads it around back, which I've got the whole shaft connected together for this, but that leaves it to this chain that drops down and drives there. So eventually I would like to drive both sides. That way, if I want to disengage one side, I can, or I can have both of them running, or, you know, I don't know if I'll have like an air clutch or something, or what I'll do there, but that's way down the road. That way, if I'm planning a field, I don't have to get out. And since these row units are so close together, I wouldn't have to get off and shut every row unit off. I could just disconnect, half disconnect. So the markers I need to modify, but they work pretty good. And I've got it on the 620 right now, so I can't explain the air system. But, so basically it just runs all back. So, I guess I'm gonna give it a bath, and then if I can think of anything else, I will talk about it. But that's basically the summary of it. It took a lot to figure out the transmission. I will say that I've done a lot of work, and maybe when I come back here we'll talk about that some. So anyways, there's the gist of it. So I guess we'll come back and we'll explain how I calibrated it here in a little bit. So she's all washed off, and we're back. I guess I'm going to tell you a little bit about how I calibrated this thing. Between Rusty, my buddy, and me, he did some math for me and figured out, at least verified the math that I was wondering about. So for this planter, you got to go 29 feet 1 inch to achieve my desired population, or to achieve 1/1000th of an acre. So I did the math on, if you take that wheel and it spins 1 turn to 2 turns of the little wheel. So I figured out that 7 turns of this little wheel, right there's the mark, and right there's the mark, equals that 29 feet 1 inch. So after we put that together, I basically had it in the shed and I spun that thing 7 turns at a time, about 20 times, playing with different sprocket configurations here and playing with the different sprocket configurations here. So by the time it was all said and done, I came to the realization that at my lowest setting with my cup meters, or seed cups, I was putting down roughly, approximately-ish, 100,000 seeds per acre. So I was putting down between 100 and 110 seeds per 7 turns. So you divide that, or times that by 1,000, and that gets you your 1 acre. So when I went to the field, I had it on my lowest setting, and my monitor verified that I was putting it on, it actually said about 115,000. So I tied 2 of the row units up. I just tied them up with a ratchet strap, lifted them up, and I actually counted, I marked off a couple times, how many seeds were in that 29 feet 1 inch. And after doing that about 10 times, I figured out that my population is pretty well where I thought it should be, or where I guessed it, about the 115. So I kept upping and upping and upping and upping and upping and upping, and finally we got to around that 140,000 population. So I'm about in the middle of the transmission right now. I'm in the middle drive gear, and I would say on the high side, second to highest side on the driven gear. So and I verified that. I took the tape measure up and I counted emerged seeds, plants, and I counted, the one time I counted 135, and the other time I counted 155. So I would say for the controlled spill, I would say we're right in the ballpark. So I guess that's how we calibrated it. I don't know really much else to say. It's been a very fun and challenging build, and next year we're going to get the actual meters for it, and I'm very, very excited about that. So, and then I think I'll be able to dial it in a whole lot better. But I guess if anybody has any questions about the build, feel free to ask. Can message me or whatever. We'll figure out a way to get in contact. But so I guess that's it. I came up with most of this on my own. I went after the airbags, and he had the drive and the transmission sitting there, and I'm like, he gave me a deal, and I decided to buy it. So I wasn't going to do the top drive. I was trying to stick to the lowest budget I could, but hey, it all worked out, and I really, really like it. So we will see how long it holds up. I think for what acreage I plant, it'll be a very, very, very good tool to have. I guess while I'm at it, I'll show you a little bit about the airbag system. Basically, I took the Viair, however you say it, and this is a truck air compressor for airbags on a truck suspension. Basically, there's the pump and a tank, and that all goes up to my little valve system and regulator, and the one switch controls the monitor. The other switch controls the airbags. So if I crawl up here real fast, you can see if I turn this switch on, that turns the air pump on. This switch here is live power to my 350 monitor. And then I've got relays down there to control everything. And then I've just got that linked straight to the battery. So I have to turn these off every night. And then I put a valve on here so I can hold my pressure. But for corn, I'm a little high right now. I've been actually running it around 30. I don't know why it's actually that high, but it could be bled off because I'm finally done planting. So that's basically it. Get down here on this side. There's the radar for the monitor, and I've just got stuff neatly coiled up. And this here is just a bracket off of a heat houser, and like I said, it's kind of some, I guess you'd call it Andy rigging is what I call it. And then each planter has its own independent air hose, and then they just ties in there. So I can only run one planter at once right now, but that's what we got. So as always, if you made it this far, which a lot of you don't, be sure to like the videos and subscribe to it. I'm trying to put out decent content for you guys, and I don't know, I should have got more video of the build of this thing, but well, when you're doing trial and error stuff, sometimes it doesn't work out. So alrighty, I'm gonna tie all three of these together and quit dragging it out. So we'll catch y'all in the next one.